Live from the EPB Fiber Optic Studio, this is WLND Signal Mountain, Chattanooga.
Health, wellness, lifestyle, nutrition, and so much more. Welcome to Vital Health Radio, presented by CHI Memorial on 98.1 The Lake, a production of Whitfield Media Group, with your hosts, Ed Jones, owner of Nutrition World, and Dr. Christopher Green, board-certified medical doctor.
Good morning and welcome to Vital Health Radio, presented by CHI Memorial, 98.1 The Lake. Thank you for taking your time this Sunday morning to join us. We are a radio show that's all about your health, wellness, lifestyle, nutrition, and healthy living. I am Ed Jones, owner of Nutrition World here in Chattanooga. And joining me is my good friend, Dr. Christopher Green, board-certified medical doctor and chief of staff, CHI Memorial. And good morning, Dr. Green.
Good morning, Ed. Again, so good to be with you and all of our listeners this beautiful Sunday morning. Thank you again for announcing me. And yes, I've been a primary care doc here for going on 25 years. What a privilege. I know you're leaving a legacy behind, and hopefully we both are. And it's such a privilege to serve this area as a primary care doctor and the other roles I have as well. You mentioned chief of staff. Thank you so much. One thing with CHI Memorial, the chief of staff has a one-year term, and as of July 1st, my term ended, so I still go and I still help, but we're switching over to another medical doctor to be chief of staff, but I'm still helping with all of that, and CHI continues to serve this area, and I continue to help as we plan the new hospital that's coming into North Georgia, which will be right in our parking lot area at 4700 Battlefield Parkway in Ringgold. And that's going to serve everyone so well in Fort Oglethorpe, Ringgold, Northwest Georgia. Can't wait to see what that looks like, how it functions, all the people there. We've been building up the staff over the last year and continue to grow. Thank you, CHI Memorial, who are also our title sponsor. Thank you also, Benchmark Physical Therapy, with whom I work, doing a great job, and a big thanks to LHC Corporation, that's Louisiana Healthcare, through Home Care Solutions Home Health. As you know, they're a great sponsor of our show and also support this area and a lot of my patients and everyone else's as well. Thank you, Home Care Solutions. And also Heartlight Hospice of Dalton, which is also an LHC corporation, and they continue to minister to people suffering from horrible medical conditions, and it is a great pleasure to get to serve these people and to just ease their suffering during that time. It's such a hard time, and a great thing to get to minister to people spiritually and physically during that time in hospice. And let me remind people with CHI Memorial that CHI Memorial does offer state-of-the-art digital breast 3D mammography imaging, as well as softer mammograms to ensure that you are comfortable. 3D mammography imaging, which is also known as tomosynthesis, is a breast technology that's different from traditional mammography. With 3D mammography imaging, a series of images from multiple angles are converted into a single 3D image. This allows for improved visibility and improves cancer detection. If you're interested, please call 423-495-4040 for more information. Ed, back to you. What's going on in your world?
Always at least a dozen things at the same time is going on. We had a dog health fair last weekend, and it was unbelievable because what we've done is, again, with pet health, I'm really focusing on it as I do human nutrition health. And I have a person employed at Nutrition World, Stacy, who is a phenomenally experienced and skilled person to help advise on nutrition and pets, because we're being misled, as we are in many areas, and that's one reason you and I partner, because we're trying to join that gap of misinformation, and we're holding hands here between somewhat opposing teams, used to, now that's not, which I'm so thankful of. But Katie and I went on TV. Actually, we've been on TV twice actually last week, and we spoke about the toxicity of pet food, and that 1 in 2 dogs are getting cancer before they should. And that's almost like humans, because we are down to a 1 in 3 or 1 in 2, depending on the numbers, as far as cancer. And Nutrition World has been involved since 1979 with the journey of educating everyone, hopefully, on the benefit of proper nutrition. And there's certainly a lot of ways to interpret the word proper nutrition. And I think you could have 500 different people with 500 different opinions. But we try to distill it down to common sense, workable, research-based. And if you ever go on nutritionw.com, you would understand that we are not just a store. We are a wellness center. We encompass everything from yoga to salsa dancing to exercise to licensed counselors, nurse practitioners, medical testing, blood testing, coaching, health coaching. We have a tremendous amount of good benefit with health coaches. And I know you, Dr. Green, none of us singular as a profession can be all things to all people. We have to use a team approach. I'm sure you do every single day. And what we're trying to do at Nutrition World is to offer even people like yourself the ability to say, you know what, if the patient wants it and you feel comfortable, since you don't, if you're talking to someone who never exercised and they want to learn, well, they don't really need to learn on YouTube. They're going to hurt themselves. So you could send them to our expert. We have an expert in exercise. We have a registered dietitian if they can't figure out how to eat properly. We have someone who can deal with, like we have Nilly. She's, her, you've met her,
I do.
Hispanic, and she can help people that are only speaking Spanish on more common sense, how to eat and maybe how to supplement. So we're embracing all of that. I will say that I did go down yesterday. And I don't know, you didn't say anything about it.
Well, and let me throw in, that's really the new paradigm I think we're trying to present to people, is that it's not, yes, we're holding hands across the table for this, but it's really more of a merging is the way I see it, where it's one family. The medical home that we're trying to create in primary care is reaching out to embrace you, non-traditional care, and all of the people you're associated with, and it's really becoming one family. And that's how it should be, and the patients, I think, are seeing that.
I agree. And, there was an old term that actually still used, which I do not like, called alternative medicine. There is no alternative, because that means that I'm kicking you out and I'm only utilizing my thought patterns. That's not common sense. We need to join hands like we would in any relationship and give the best to the client, patient because of that.
And the older we get, like we always say, the more we learn that we don't know. That goes from your viewpoint and mine, so we're expanding that and hopefully can help others expand their minds and viewpoints as well. And that goes for providers as well as patients.
Absolutely. And I want to say that I'm a pretty low-maintenance guy. I'm not one to go, do a lot of self-care. I mean, I do the basics. I do brush my teeth and floss.
I'm so glad to hear that.
But there's one thing I also have done about 10 times, and I did it yesterday, and you haven't said anything about it, and thank you, because you probably haven't noticed yet, but I did this thing called a Pico. It's called a Pico Way treatment on my face, and it hurt like the dickens. Look here, Dr. Grant, I got a picture on the screen. It's so strong, it can remove a tattoo.
Wow.
So when it removes tattoos, it also removes age spots from the sun, which, I've lived 62 years. And I am very much opposed to suntan lotions that contain chemicals. I've spoke on that before. It doesn't mean I don't use them, but they're so hard to find. Of course, Nutrition World carries that. But the thing is, I've had about eight or nine of these. But yesterday I went down and I had one, and the girl who always does it, Tammy, said, "Oh, we have a new machine. We got rid of the old one, and you're going to have to use numbing cream," which I normally don't use. And I said, "Oh, I should be fine." She said, "Oh, no, you're not going to be fine." And thank goodness she put it on, because I'm hurting today. And what it does, though, is if you saw photos of me before I started this, it's like a different person.
And for all the listeners, I will say Ed does not look funny today, so no, I didn't notice.
That's because the lights are down on purpose. I want to, let's see if I have time to talk about. Now, I'm going to wait and talk about a restaurant that I ate at.
Oh, and I can talk to you too.
Oh, super. And it's a home cooking place. I want to know if you've
mine
been
was
there.
not home cooking, but it was good.
Oh, you crazy thing. Well, we both do enjoy good food. There's no doubt.
Yeah, and you eat for the ingredients, and I definitely eat for the taste.
And, also on the next segment on this show, I'm really excited about Dr. Paulson. She's a naturopath. I think she lives in Portland, Oregon, and she had called in and did the interview. And we're going to be talking about something called FirstLine Therapy. That, again, goes right back to what we spoke of earlier about combining the forces of conventional and more complementary. I like the word complementary.
I had to send someone your way Actually, I got to talking about all of the mushrooms, and I realized, my knowledge base is enough to know that I don't need to educate this person on that, so I sent them up to Nutrition World. But some of their questions, I remember that, it's going to help them, some lion's mane or something like that. Yeah. But I sent them y'all's way, and I said, I'm the wrong person to ask right now. I have to educate myself a little further. But so many things, it's been such a benefit being on the show because I can educate people on so much more now than I could, say, 2 years ago.
Well, thank you. And, of course, I can educate better about the conventional things that we've talked about.
Absolutely.
And the thing is that I tend to forget, and I think you do too, is if you remember, we did an interview of the mushroom expert on Vital Health Radio.
I remember it well.
And I tend to forget that we can go back and listen to those. So I sometimes will remember, and I'll say, listen, if you'll go to vitalhealthradio.com, go to past shows, and go to where it says mushrooms, it's a 14-minute segment. Go listen, and that's how they really, really can learn. Well, guess what? The 11 minutes is already up.
Can't believe it.
Green. I know. When we come back, we are going to be discussing the thing I spoke of, FirstLine Therapy. We've got that plus more to come. For Dr. Green, I'm Ed Jones, and stay with us.
You're listening to Vital Health Radio, presented by CHI Memorial on 98.1 The Lake. We'll be back after these messages. Welcome back to Vital Health Radio, presented by CHI Memorial on 98.1 The Lake.
Welcome back, and thank you for making us a part of your day. If you're always on the move, download the free radio.com app to your smartphone or tablet, and keep us tuned in each Sunday morning right here on 98.1 The Lake. We are a radio show that is all about your health, wellness, lifestyle, nutrition, and healthy living. I'm Ed Jones with Nutrition World here in Chattanooga, and I'm back with my partner, Dr. Christopher Green. And today's guest is a person I met who I was supremely impressed with, a naturopathic physician, Dr. Trisha Paulson. Welcome to Vital Health Radio, Dr. Paulson.
Thank you.
We have discussed before the concept of naturopathic medicine, and it really is an old school medicine. This isn't something new, but it focuses on helping the individual physically, mentally, and emotionally to optimize their health in usually, most of the time, of course, less pharmaceutical or no pharmaceutical ways. And if that is required, then you refer back to their general practitioner. But you access the world of nature and holistic healing and botanicals and nutrition and lifestyle management. And I love that concept. That's why I do this radio show with Dr. Green. That's why I've had my whole life focused on that at Nutrition World. But there's something that, I came across. It was just totally coincidentally, probably 6 months ago at Nutrition World, a great rep came in that was talking about something called FirstLine Therapy. And my ears lit up instantly when she discussed how there were clinics across this country that were changing lives so effectively for clients and patients using this thing called FirstLine Therapy. And I know that when we talked about 6 weeks ago, you have been using this protocol for some time, I'm not sure how long, in order to really handhold and assist any of your patients to go from wherever their health is to vastly optimizing it. And can you tell us a little bit about how that works and how you incorporate it and what a patient would expect from FirstLine Therapy?
Yeah, FirstLine Therapy is really the hub of my entire practice. And I think one of the misconceptions about naturopathic medicine or even natural medicine is that it's simply what we call green allopathy, meaning that, you just swap out a pharmaceutical agent for a natural agent. Some of your listeners may be familiar with red yeast rice extract, which has great research and works very well for lowering someone's cholesterol. But never would I just have a patient come in and say, instead of taking that medication, why don't you try this red yeast rice extract and consider it all good? That's not how naturopathic medicine works. What we need to really look at is, well, why does this individual have elevated cholesterol? What are the underlying factors? How did they get there? And once we figure out how they got the elevated cholesterol, we can go back and remedy that. And so first-line therapy is essentially what the name implies. It's our first line of therapy really needs to be diet and lifestyle, because when we look at a lot of these chronic lifestyle diseases that people are being diagnosed with, that is the underlying cause is, poor diet and poor lifestyle. So first-line therapy as a system, as a program, was created for practitioners who really wanted to be offering their patients the possibility of disease resolution by getting back to the underlying cause, changing diet, changing lifestyle, so they no longer had the diagnosis or the condition or symptom. But it's very difficult to do when we're talking about diet and lifestyle. These are our habits. This is, what people have been doing for years and possibly decades, and then trying to undo that. So the first-line therapy system or program was designed to create the time, space, knowledge, the education tools, a system so that practitioners could effectively talk about diet, lifestyle to their patient and help them effectively implement it. At the end of the day, you're talking about behavior change, which is difficult to do. It's not going to happen, in a mere 15, 20-minute visit, and, us just suggesting to our patients, Mrs. Jones, what you really should be doing is eating lean protein, fruits, and vegetables is not that helpful. I think I would give my patients the benefit of the doubt that they likely have already heard that, but it's getting them to actually implement it. Really, it comes down to on Monday, they need to know, what am I going to eat for breakfast? What am I going to eat for lunch? How am I going to fit in exercise? What exercise should I do? What can I do to help better manage my stress? So the first-line therapy system or program is creating that environment that conversation can happen between the practitioner and the patient.
Well, and you certainly speak my language, because I've dealt with people for 40 plus years, and Dr. Green, because he's younger than me, hasn't been quite doing it for 40 years. But how many years you've been practicing?
25.
25. Oh yeah, you're a pro though. I won't call you a rookie. That's for damn sure. The thing is, we all have seen this exact situation that you're talking about. Is to change the habits and programming of someone, it requires coaching. It requires a consistency. It requires something more than one visit, 1 week, or a couple times going to the gym. We need accountability. And so this first-line therapy is what so impressed me, is that we combine, and you can further explain it better than I, we combine a healthcare practitioner like Dr. Green or a nurse practitioner or whoever is in the more conventional medical model with basically health coaches. And so these people would come to a health practitioner. I think would over a period of 12 weeks, they would see the practitioner 4 times, and they would see the first line therapist, which are the health coaches, about 8 times. Is that the way it kind of works?
Yeah, and the reason why it is designed over 12 weeks as a 12-week program is by no means, if we have a patient who has diabetes and is obese and has high blood pressure and high cholesterol, by no means do we think in 12 weeks they're going to be cured of all that ails them. The point of a 12-week program is because there is strict focus on behavior change, the social studies show that it takes about 12 weeks to create new habits. And to make it as cost-effective for the patient, but to give them the support and the cheerleading and the tools that they need. You're absolutely correct. The system is set up that they will meet with a healthcare provider who is the one who is doing all the lab work, coming up with a specific treatment plan, reevaluating the lab work, managing pharmaceuticals if they're involved. And then every 2 weeks throughout the 12 weeks, so it's actually 6 sessions total, every 2 weeks they check in with a health coach who we call a lifestyle educator, and that's for an entire hour. And they go through, what are the challenges, what are the successes. They write goals for the next 2 weeks. They address the things that they need a little bit more support in, whether that's more recipes, more meal ideas, more exercise ideas, and that then they get the support throughout the entire 12 weeks meeting in every 2 weeks. They meet with the healthcare practitioner at the halfway point, and then at the end of the program, it's not that, oh, okay, your program is over and, away you go. At the end of the program, it's a reevaluation. Okay, well, what has resolved in the 3 months? What still needs to be resolved for complete disease resolution and a return to health? And then between the practitioner and the patient, they would decide, okay, well, let's check in, once a month, or let's check in every 3 months, and certainly with the health coach as well. So it continues, their treatment continues above and beyond the 12 weeks. But that initial 12 weeks is to try to really establish some good, new, healthy behaviors.
Well, the thing is that, and Dr. Green knows this all too well, too, when you ask a patient or I ask a client, I say, do you eat healthy? And they, oh, yeah, I do. But then when you start getting into the specifics of it, they're having cornflakes for breakfast, they're having no fiber, they're no this, no that, and then, they're having a salad with tons of dressing at lunch, and then they're having a dinner with whatever. And you come to realize that they really think they are doing a good job, or even exercise. Yeah, well, I exercise. What do you do? Well, I walk around the block three times a week. Well, it's good, but, there's improvement. We have to coach people. And the thing that I loved about FirstLine is it bridges the gap between a conventional medical model, which is we need people who can do the blood testing and evaluation and recommendations, and then partner them with these lifestyle educators. Because Dr. Green doesn't have time to go out and make sure of all the foods that his patients are eating. I don't think he does.
No, and I like the specifics she's giving people.
Yeah, and that we fall back also on the trust of the medical model, and then the medical model falls back on the trust of FirstLine educators. In fact, I have 5 FirstLine educators that will be completely certified within the next 6 weeks to be able to partner on this journey. So I'm highly, highly excited about this. I know it will not be an inexpensive journey for people, but when you look at what you're getting and then look at the savings in health cost for one, and the coaching, I just know that this is the future of healthcare management. Don't you feel that, Dr. Paulson?
Yeah, I absolutely do. When we look at, okay, well, what are the conditions that, the 21st century diseases needs a new medical model, a 21st century, medical model. And we believe that this is medicine of the future.
Well, and also a big part of this, and I don't want to always focus on weight loss, but because we have a nation that is epidemic in obesity, the weight loss protocol on this is exceptional, because we're actually addressing so many of the, sometimes not just eating better or eating less, it's looking at blood chemistry. And to me, I've repeated this so often, and I know I'm hogging this, Dr. Green. I'm sorry to be rambling as I do.
No worries.
Okay. But I have a podcast called The Holistic Navigator on the one on weight loss. I keep repeating this. It's usually not about your knife and fork is important, but it's more about blood chemistry. Your lack of good, balanced, optimal blood chemistry is why we get obese. It is, and you can't fix that through just changing some habits. We need to change blood chemistry. How do we do that? We have to work with people like Dr. Green and Dr. Paulson and Meredith Mason and people who are into understanding these philosophies. And then why is it, at 18 years old, you don't gain weight? It's because your blood chemistry was optimal. Why at 38 you are? Because it's not optimal. So the key is not to just eat less, balanced blood chemistry. FirstLine Therapy can do that. And I'm sure you've seen it many times, haven't you? How many years have you been doing this, Dr. Paulson?
It is the only way I've ever practiced. So right out of naturopathic college in 2005, this has been the hub of my entire practice. I don't know how I would practice without it, because the education tools and the system makes such good sense and makes the delivery of lifestyle medicine, which is difficult, changing what someone is eating on a daily basis, and how they're exercising, how they're sleeping, how it's really challenging to do. So the system makes it very easy for me. I'm leveraging a lifestyle educator. It makes it far more cost effective for the patient. It's win-win all around.
Well, I know my own personal observations. Like, we even have a gym at my business, and it's a personal training gym, and it even frustrates me within my own system when I see these people come to this gym. And I love what my trainer does, Mackie Pierre. He saves me every time I need anything with injuries or this or advice. I go to him because he's my team. But what happens is he still only has that one conversation. He can't, there's not a good, easy way to hook his clients up with more education about food and supplements and this, or even the medical model. It's like a solo medicine or solo journey. And what FirstLine is going to do is actually make us partner and hold hands together, not just hope that we do. And that's where I'm very optimistic for this in the future. And let me ask you, if people wanted to access your services from a distance and they were not here in Chattanooga, can they do this through Skype or through some other method?
They absolutely can. And my website is truehealthnm.com, and that's a great resource for all the information. And on there, people will see that they can choose either a phone visit, a virtual visit, or an office visit. So I do draw from quite a wide radius practicing here in rural Wisconsin. And a lot of the times it is just a quick phone visit. They don't have to make the whole drive in. And yeah, we can do it from a distance. And then using lifestyle educators in their area would be a great fit.
Does this sound like a reasonable thing, Dr. Green, to you?
Oh, absolutely. It is hard I was thinking about motivating patients, and, I tried to do that. I've taken some to the gym. They fire me as their trainer really fast. So, that just doesn't, well, because of what I like to do, which is fairly intense, just like Ed does. So, it's hard to actually motivate patients. I'm thinking the people that would come to you to choose to come to pay are already a different class of person. They're already motivated more than the average person. So, I'm going to be looking for ways to continue to motivate my patients, but I think I could partner with somebody like you. So when we have people like you locally, absolutely, I would work from the traditional side, work with someone like you with FirstLine Therapy, and there's no reason you can't have a marriage of naturopathic and traditional medicine. There's just no reason.
Well, you see, Dr. Paulson, I love Dr. Green because he's just such exceptional for his attitude and his openness. And again, we're bridging that gap. That's what we're doing by talking on this show every single weekend. And we've been doing that now for a year and 3 months. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Paulson, for such an informative 15 minutes. And I wish you the best. And we will be having your business cards at Nutrition World for those who want to come in and get more information. And the best to you for the rest of the weekend. It is time for us to take a break. When we come back, we'll be discussing more of your health. With that, plus more to come. For Dr. Green, I'm Ed Jones, and stay with us.
We're all about healthy living and enjoying life. Vital Health Radio, presented by CHI Memorial on 98.1 The Lake. We'll be back after these messages. Welcome back to Vital Health Radio, presented by CHI Memorial on 98.1 The Lake.
Welcome back, and thank you for making us a part of your day. We are a radio show that's all about your health, wellness, lifestyle, nutrition, and healthy living. I'm Ed Jones, back again with my partner, Dr. Christopher Green, and I will say that I did eat at a place that I used to eat at quite frequently and have not been there in 2 years. And it is full of home-cooked foods, which, like all restaurants, you can make some good choices and some really bad. So it's up to the consumer to make the right ones. But this is Countryside up on Mahan Gap Road.
I have been there, just not in a long time.
Really? Well, you know what? No one has as many vegetables on a menu that they do. I have right here is the list, and I want to show you. Look at these vegetables right here. And They have vegan, vegetarian, and gluten-free selections. They're on Mahan Gap Road in Ottawa. And
for the listeners, I will say they are typed side to side in a paragraph form, and there are 3 huge paragraphs of vegetables.
How many would you guess? There's 50.
Easily.
Yeah, no one anywhere.
Grape salad is on there.
Oh, yeah, and I always...
of course, some is fried. I see fried squash and zucchini, so not all are super healthy, but they look good.
Well, I am coming to confession today right now.
I see Brussels sprouts.
Well, you're right, and I did get those last Sunday, but I am coming to confession because I don't want anybody to think that I'm professing to be perfect. You know what? Only time that I remember in the past many years that I consistently eat fried food is at Countryside, and they have the finest fried okra on earth. It is truly like Grandma used to make.
And my granny did do that too. So like I tell my patients, though, I know that frying makes it taste good, and I like it too. Gosh, they used to have fried, what were they? I think fried Oreos. My son used to row for Macaulay years ago, and they would sell those, thinking you shouldn't eat that unless you're 16.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, because actually I did a little research on some news, health news, and I want you to see this. It was actually a very interesting article where they did a very significant study, and the title is "Junk Food Habits Irreversibly Damage Sperm by Age 20."
Which type of junk foods? Any particular?
Right here: pizza, candy, chips, other processed high-fat. When they say high-fat, unhealthy fat food causes permanent damage to sperm. And this was based on a study from Harvard University with 3,000 men aged 18 to 20.
So that's like a teenager's diet.
Pretty much. And the thing is, you can still eat a lot of those foods, but you've got to balance it with, I believe, some supplements and also some of the other foods.
Well, we both know how to make pizza in a healthy way, cauliflower crust. You can actually do it. May not be as good as Pizza Hut, but...
Well, the thing is, if you go to Pizza Hut, now I do like Lupe's. Lupe's to me is the
good.
Finest pizza. And the reason is because they
try Pizza Brothers sometimes, don't forget.
Oh, okay. Where are they
Pizza
located?
Brothers in North Shore.
Okay. The thing about Lupe's I love is they source from local ingredients. They care about the meats. They're grass-fed. They do, the mushrooms that they use at Lupe's is grown by an individual about 30 miles from here, I believe. And, I mean, that makes a difference.
And we've talked about Edley's, and they try to source local as well. That's another good place.
So, but this sperm thing, the sperm count of men have been decreasing for about 15 years. Well, along with that comes other negative things, such as more tendency for man boobs and body fat, because we're in a society where we are, consuming a lot of plastics, from plastic, water in plastic bottles, even colognes, microwaves, saran wrap. All these things are feeding into the man's system as a pretend estrogen. That's one reason all this is happening. But to make a real quick comment, the other night I was eating at Sushi Nabi, and I was with two young people great young people, but they don't have a clue about food. So I got Brussels sprouts, and I said, guys and girl, I said, you know me, I'm not here to ever preach and tell people about how to eat. I just don't. If you want to know, I'm here. But I said, I want to let you know a little 1-minute education on Brussels sprouts. Why would I want to eat those? Well, I said they contain something that only 4 foods have, which is cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, broccoli, and the other ones escape my mind. And they have indole 3-carbinol. What is that? It's a natural product that actually takes the ability of the liver to detoxify a part of the estrogen family in women. And when women consume indole 3-carbinol at least 3 times a week, their cervical cancer rates and breast cancer rates drop significantly.
Did you try the FoodWorks Brussels sprouts yet?
I did. Yes, and they were excellent. Gilman Grill is still the best Brussels sprouts, but they're number 2. Thank you for telling me.
Still haven't been to Stir, right?
Have not.
Okay, yeah, that was the restaurant that I ate at, and I've always liked that place. But char grilled oysters, wonderful. They have 4 to 6 different varieties of oysters, and some fish tacos, wonderful, wonderful. So you have to go there. I cannot speak for the ingredients. I just enjoy the food, but it was excellent. If you go at happy hour, 4 to 6:30, nice discounts.
Okay, thank you. I do like, that's my other little vice occasionally, is the adult beverage with dinner.
Well, it's both on a lot of the foods and the beverages. So
yeah. Well, and one other point you made, like you can eat pizza that can be extremely unhealthy, or you can truly make wise decisions that can help. So what I do when I eat Lupe's, number one, I'm going there because they have good, using good raw materials to make the pizza, but I'm going to get avocados on it, and I may get broccoli on it. Now, it does not ruin the pizza. I promise you guys. I still get meat on it. I get the beef because Lupe's has it grass-fed. So I'm getting my pizza addiction satisfied, but I'm balancing with some of this.
Well,
and just
two of my favorites. Avocado is good on almost everything.
Almost. And then if you get a little bit of broccoli, you have the indole-3 that I just talked about. Because what's happened, and I'm not going to get into it, but you have in the estrogen family, you have things called 16-hydroxyestrogen, 4-hydroxyestrogen. It's how the body really manipulates these hormones. And 16-hydroxyestrogen is skyrocketing in American women. That's why we have skyrocketing breast cancer rates. You look at women in other countries, their 16-hydroxyestrogen is low. Why is it low? Because they consume foods that open the spigot, and the spigot will then dump it out in the toilet. We're not doing that. It's because we don't eat enough indole-3 carbinol. Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, broccoli, all of those at least 3 times a week. So there's my point.
And if we just try to, like we always preach, shop from the outside of the store, make healthy choices at least 80% of the time, that's a great health move. And I will say this, I also tried within the last week salads at Edley's. I had never tried their salads, and superb. I mean, they make their own dressings, lots of tomatoes and cucumbers. And I mean, it was an excellent salad. So I normally don't. I'm usually bad when I'm there, but tried to do a little better, and I could not even finish the salad. It's a huge salad, a great deal.
Wow. Well, we're giving people lots of options to when they go out to eat.
Well, you and I do like to eat. People might think we don't, but we do.
Well, and I have talked about Bad Daddy's on Gun Barrel, but they now have a buffalo burger.
Oh.
And buffalo is one of the only meats where you know that it's not being fed antibiotics, because I think there's a law even that you cannot give antibiotics to buffaloes, and it was to die for. And their salad is as good as I've ever had.
You know, and there are studies showing health benefits to a lot of the spicier foods that I like, hot sauces and whatnot. So I was doing that with the oysters last night. And another study came out within the last couple of weeks showing that a cup of coffee a day can help with weight loss as well.
Oh, right. I love that.
You know, lots of oddly enough, beneficial studies on coffee. And I know we've talked about Bulletproof and other types of coffee, but I just mean coffee in general. Now, granted, I don't think they know the coffee quantities that providers tend to consume. So perhaps we go a little past the safe cutoff point for coffee, but I'll still preach that to my patients that, you know, coffee and reason is not a bad thing. And, you know, it can raise your blood pressure a little bit, but it will not cause, or should not cause, any permanent elevation of blood pressure.
And, you know, isn't it strange how that concept has evolved? It went from being good to being demonized to back to good, demonized. Now we're back to the good again. And I know in the studies for Parkinson's, I actually needed to drink 6 cups a day to show a substantial prevention of Parkinson. But
oh, well, I have a lot of prevention then.
I actually have lessened my desire for coffee. I do 1 cup in the morning, and that's it.
And you have, y'all have an infused coffee, right?
Oh, yeah. We have a nitrogen-infused coffee at Nutrition World from a local vendor. It is my absolute favorite. The problem is I can't take it home because the nitrogen only stays for maybe an hour, I think. And it is cold. It's like a cold brew, but I actually partaked of that yesterday when I was a little bit out of energy, and it kicks my butt in the perfect way.
I wish we could have a Nutrition World outlet in our building, just a small one with maybe some coffee, some food choices, and some good products. So think about that one.
All right. Well, I will say one other thing. Katie and I went on This and That, which is Channel 9 News, actually last week with James Howard, and he interviewed us on prenatal health. Katie, because she's only 2 weeks away from delivering her first baby.
What a great picture of her. For all the listeners, we're looking online. It's a great picture of Katie.
Thank you. As nutritionw.com on the home page, you scroll down. But what we really have gotten fired up about, and she got me going on it, I'll tell you, but the conventional information being educating the normal pregnant woman is living in the dark ages. When I went on This and That, which is still on their website, the interview that we did, I actually came up with an analogy, which wasn't really super kind. I will have to admit this. I said, anyone out there who has a cell phone, if it broke and you went back to Verizon and you walked in the store and all they could offer you were flip phones, what would you do? You would not go there anymore because you know they can't meet your needs. That's what's happening in much of the education with prenatal care and nutrition. The other parts of prenatal care, they're fabulous. They're experts. They're wonderful. But they're still telling people to only take 800 milligrams of EPA, way too low. They're telling people to take prenatals that have talc powder in them with also red dyes, also with folic acid, which is so outdated that it's ridiculous. And they're not testing vitamin D levels. And all of that together, we have 1 in 79 kids now with autism. In 1970, it was 1 in 2,000. Nutrition is the biggest player in that. So don't live in the dark ages. Find a person who you trust that can educate you. But on nutritionw.com, we have that information. Katie has written the best article. And again, we were on This and That just this past week. It's still on their TV station if you would like. And we posted that on our Facebook.
We should consider having an obstetrician come in. We should talk to them about this.
Mm-hmm. I would love to, really would. That's what I love about this show is we don't battle with anyone. We really embrace every kind of opinion.
Well, we want to learn. I mean, let's get somebody in here with a contrasting viewpoint and talk.
Yeah, I mean, I love, I've loved so many of our guests in the medical field, and I have learned so much. But one of those, again, we've had 2 urologists here talking about prostate health and prostate cancer.
I think Lee Jackson most recently.
Yes, and I was, just so impressed because, I am a human being and I have some already kind of hardened ideas about things, but I'm always leave the door open. And when I left with both of those, Mullins was the first one, I think, Dr. Mullins.
That's right.
I now talk a different talk. And so it's helping me to help other people.
Well, it only affects virtually 100% of men eventually.
I didn't think about that now. That's
all you have to do is live long enough.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Whenever the next redesign of the human body comes about in the heavens, please put a request in for the plumbing system for men, because I can tell you absolutely at 62 is different than 52, and 52 is different than 42 for me, not everybody, and it sucks sometimes.
Well, seeing a lot of people, Ed, I will tell you that you are doing better than most.
Oh, good.
A lot.
Well, not to make an embarrassing statement here, but when I'm standing at the urinal and this young guy comes in next to me and I hear like the water hose just open and I'm over there dribbling, it's like, sucks. Damn. Okay.
My apologies to all the listeners.
It's time for us to take a break, and when we come back, we will be discussing and listening to Dr. Green's spiritual moment. We've got that, plus more to come. Dr. Green, I'm Ed Jones, and stay with us.
You're listening to Vital Health Radio, presented by CHI Memorial on 98.1 The Lake. We'll be back after these messages. Welcome back to Vital Health Radio, presented by CHI Memorial on 98.1 The Lake.
Welcome back, and thank you for making us a part of your day. If you're always on the move, download the free radio.com app to your smartphone or tablet and keep us tuned in each Sunday morning right here on 98.1 The Lake. We are a radio show that's all about your health, wellness, lifestyle, nutrition, and healthy living. I am Ed Jones with Nutrition World here in Chattanooga, and along with my good buddy, Dr. Christopher Green, and we always look forward to Dr. Green's spiritual moment.
Thank you, Ed. And this spiritual moment is brought to you by Silverdale Baptist Church. If you would like to learn more about Silverdale, just visit their website, which is silverdalebc.com. That's silverdalebc.com, or you can download their free app for Android or iPhone. Today's spiritual moment will once again focus on the hard times in our lives. Times of trial that we all face from time to time, and times we may feel that what God seems to be doing in our lives just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I want to begin with a quote from that well-known author and theologian, C.S. Lewis. We are not necessarily doubting that God will do the best for us. We are wondering how painful the best will turn out to be. And from Winston Churchill, kites rise highest against the wind, not with it. And next a verse from James chapter 1, verses 2 and 3. Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Now, this has always been a hard verse for me to accept, and to be honest, I have not yet reached the point in my life where I can truly say I count the hard times of trial as a joy. I know that perhaps I should be able to do that. I just can't say that I am truly joyful about being in emotional or physical pain. I'm not. But it is true that during those hard times, we tend to do the most introspection and meditation, looking for both strength and meaning in the difficulties and in life in general. Now, these are the times that try our souls, and growth is one of the outcomes, spiritual and emotional growth. These times can cause us to remember the things that truly matter to us, such as our faith and those we love, and the many blessings that remain in our lives amidst the pain we are experiencing. So we press on, looking to God in faith and living lives of purpose. I have said before that we should live our lives fiercely. I still feel that way. So during these times of trial, I will choose to focus my time and energy on the things that matter most to me, and will not waste a single second of the time or opportunities that are given to me. The testing of our faith can produce perseverance and a life that is lived fiercely, with purpose, grounded in strong faith. I suppose that could actually make us count trials of joy. And that would be my wish for us all. I want to conclude with Psalm chapter 46, verses 1 and 2, as well as verse 7. God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. Therefore, we will not fear. Though the earth give way and the mountains fall into the heart of the sea, the Lord Almighty is with us. The God of Jacob is our fortress. And this has been your spiritual moment for the day. Ed, back to you.
Thank you, my friend. And I know many others are thanking you. And, I do know when my head is clear and my spirit is open that I feel much better praying for strength than I am praying for a change of circumstances, because as long as we have the strength, we're going to persevere through, and that's where we learn the lessons that we need to be learning.
I was doing a devotional the other day, and it was an English author, and I can't quote quite as well as he spoke, but his basic idea is that joy was independent of happiness, that you can be certainly unhappy with your circumstances and still have joy for where you stand spiritually, joy in your inner being, even if you weren't totally happy with what you were facing at the time.
I love that, yes. There's a site that I also want people to know about. It's from a guy named Dr. Greger. His site is nutritionfacts.org. Nutritionfacts.org. This guy is one of a kind, let me tell you. I can't say I always agree with him, but no one agrees with everybody totally.
Especially us.
Yes, but what he does is he analyzes based on research a lot of things. The one on coffee is incredible. He talks about how you brew it, which brand, and how you make it healthier. But the thing that I read the other day, his blog, is why there is so much commercial corruption in nutrition. And again, I did a Facebook post where I said, I don't really completely agree with him, but here's one thing. I loved what he said. These days, health seems to have been reduced to highly commercialized commodity in which we're marketing all sorts of high-cost, high-tech tests and treatments of dubious value with substantial risk attached. This is worrisome because most of the things that make us healthy and keep us healthy are cheap and largely available without professional help or commercial prodding. This isn't to say modern medicine can't work miracles, but what about the big picture? That is, what about the 80% of death and disability caused by preventable diet-related diseases? And what I like about this guy is he has a video. This is a blog post, but his videos are 4 minutes long, and it covers so many things that he goes to the research. This is not his opinion, and about losing weight and about so many things that you just can't believe. So nutritionfacts.org is that. And I do want to say that, changing the subject totally, Nutrition World, and I don't mean to be here, and I'm not here to push Nutrition World. I live in that world. But we have a retreat there. It's called the Retreat at the Wellness Corner, and we have a full schedule of yoga. And yoga has so much to do with, again, quieting the chattering mind that can drive us into bonkerville. There's no
Can it
doubt.
not? Oh, my goodness.
And most of us don't realize that we shouldn't believe all of our thoughts. We pay attention to them, but it needs to be more of our employee more than the owner of the business. And you kind of listen and then you act on it perhaps. But the wellnesscornerretreat.com is a schedule of yoga that is pretty darn good with Zumba. We just added Zumba onto that schedule, so I encourage people to do that if they're looking for a good place to
And for
come.
folks like me who have sometimes had trouble with yoga classes and have made a fool of yourself, there are different levels.
There are, and you can hurt yourself. In fact, I hurt myself at the gym this week for the first time since I have known you, Dr. Green. Gold's Gym had a new machine. It's a leg machine. It's kind of a leg press. I got on it on Thursday, and I did 3 sets, and I didn't really feel anything hurting me doing the sets, but within 5 minutes, I was hobbling, and
Ow.
I actually had to go to my Mackie Pierre, who's the trainer at the gym, is always at my business, has always helped fix my injuries. And I had to go to him Thursday, and I'm still hobbling. But
So a leg machine of some type?
yeah, but it was the angle that put it on my knees, and now my knees are so inflamed. They're not injured; they're just inflamed. So I'm hobbling like a normal old person. But it will pass, and I'm taking all my good stuff. And I will say, to repeat, I did those stem cell shots. We interviewed
That's
that
right,
guy
yeah.
over probably a year ago. We did that, and I'm still hugely in favor of stem cells for my knees. And if people want to listen, they can go, again, back to the past shows, and you can see the title Stem Cells, and you just listen to the 14-minute segment that we had. I thought
I usually
it was
do
awesome.
recommend to people, and I do for myself because I've injured myself in the same way with some new type of exercise. Do somewhere between 50 and 80% of the effort and duration that you think you can do on anything new. Make sure you don't hurt yourself the first few times, then start to increase. So, yeah, I've just recently started increasing again my distance and speed running, and I brought out those chains again for the pull-ups, so weighted pull-ups again. I'd stopped that for a bit because, frankly, it was just painful. But those are back out as well. Let's not hurt ourselves.
Yay for you. And you do look like you are always in good shape, but I think it seemed like you look like you're got that edge back on you again. You're kind of ripped up. Of course, the tan helps. The tan helps.
I'm
my
losing
friend.
that tan. I need to get out there sometime.
Hey, guess what? That does it for this week's edition of Vital Health Radio, presented by CHI Memorial 98.1 The Lake. And it is a production from the Whitfield Media Group and website by Avalon Design Studios. Thank you for listening. We will be back here again next Sunday morning at 9 a.m. for a radio show that's all about your healthy living. We are on Facebook, so really appreciate you going on there and seeing all of the posts that we are doing. And please hit the like button, because that is what fuels all social media. For Dr. Christopher Green from CHI Memorial, Georgia, I'm Ed Jones with Nutrition World, and have a healthy and safe and fiercely happy day. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to another edition of Vital Health Radio, presented by CHI Memorial on 98.1 The Lake with Ed Jones and Dr. Christopher Green. Vital Health Radio, presented by CHI Memorial on 98.1 The Lake, is a production of Whitfield Media Group. Join us next Sunday.